What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another video. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing a day trader's paradise utilizing Bookmap to identify buy and sell signals inside the market. But real quick, before we get up to the video, what I need you guys to do is make sure to click that like as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. It would mean the absolute world to me. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. Okay, so I'm sure most of you guys have seen my previous Bookmap videos. If you haven't, I'm going to leave them down in the description. I think I have two of them, so make sure you guys watch them after you watch this video. But anyways, if you're new to Bookmap, I'm sure all of this looks very, very confusing. But basically what Bookmap is if you take level 2 and you inject level 2 with steroids, that's how you find Bookmap. So Bookmap, in my opinion, it is very, very useful, and I only use it on the futures, so we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But for me, Bookmap gives me a more visual representation of where the buyers and sellers are sitting in the market, and we can utilize that as day traders to identify buy and sell signals. So again, I only look at the futures because, as you guys know, the stocks follow their futures. So the S&P 500 futures, more than likely the entire stock market is going to be following exactly what the S&P futures are doing. That's why I only look at the S&P futures on Bookmap. Now on Bookmap, as you can see, we have all these different colored bars, like we have orange, we have red, we have yellow, we have blue, dark blues, etc., etc. Now over here, we have COB, which is going to be the current order book. I pay very close attention to that when we're coming up to a major level. And then we have the session range volume profile. Honestly, I don't pay too much attention to that. I know there's a lot of people that do. And then on Bookmap, also what you can do is you can add a bunch of different indicators. I haven't updated it yet, but I have a lot more indicators that I can show you guys. But anyways, as you can see, there's just a bunch of other stuff on here. You can put on VWAP, so on and so forth. So when I am looking at Bookmap and again looking at the futures on Bookmap, I'm really trying to identify these huge areas of sell orders and buy orders. So if we're looking at the market today, when it was rallying early on in the morning, we could see that sellers were sitting right here at this 4180 area. Now also on Bookmap, we have these green balls and we have these red balls. The bigger the size, the ball, the more aggressive the buyers or sellers at that point. So the green balls are going to be your buyers, the red balls are going to be your sellers. If we're coming up to a major area, again, red is like, you want to pay attention if you see red. Like that's where a lot of sellers are sitting, or a lot of buyers if it's coming down to a red area. But if we're coming up to a red area, you want to see what's going to happen with this green ball, because with these red areas, orange areas, yellow areas, they're just passive buyers or passive sellers. So in this case, since the S&P futures are coming up to this level, these are passive sellers waiting to get their orders filled at 4180. They don't want to do business anywhere else in the market. They want it specifically at 4180. If it doesn't hit 4180, they are not interested in doing business with anybody else. So they let their order just sit there and they wait for the market to come and to hit their sell order. Now, at this point, this is what we want to pay attention to, because if we find a good example like 4185 right now, we can see that there's a lot of sellers at that 4185. So if we're looking at 4185, there's a lot of sellers up here. As you can see on the current order book, we have a 239, meaning there's a lot of sellers right here just waiting. Now, what I'm looking for when we come up into that level is I want to see the aggressive buyers, and you're going to identify the aggressive buyers by the size of the ball. I want to see them digest all of the sellers in the 4185 area. So let's just say that the S&P futures were coming up to 4185. Well, if I only see a tiny little ball and this 366 only drops down to like 340, we're more than likely not going to break that level. And as a result, if we're already long in the market, that lets us know, okay, this is probably a good area to get out. Or it lets us know of a possible reject level that we can use to end up buying puts. Now, on the flip side, say we do come up to this 4185 and we have 366 on the order book, and we start getting this massive green ball growing in size, and we're seeing the 366 get digested down to 150, 150, 21, and then eventually 0. we are going to clear that level, and more than likely the futures are going to continue to go up. So if the futures go up, the overall market is going to continue to go up as well. And then from there, I'm just looking for the next possible sell zone, which was 41.86. After 41.86, we could have saw 41.90, 41.92, 41.95, and then 4200 was a huge level as well. So again, if we're coming up to a major area, I ideally look for the orange areas and the red areas. I'm seeing how the aggressive buyers are going to surpass that level. If we come up and we digest all the sell orders and the green ball just grows in size and you can see that the volume picks up, we're more than likely going to clear the level and we're more than likely going to continue going higher. It's going to be the same thing to the downside. So it looks like the market just had a pullback. So if we go look and see what just happened in the market, this is actually a really good example right here. So what is that? 4170. Yes. So 4170, you can see that we dipped down near this level once. We got pretty close right here, but there was more buyers just sitting right here at 4170.50. And then right here, again, we had huge buyers here, huge buyers here, huge buyers here. What ended up happening? We had these massive red balls that ended up letting us know that there was really aggressive sellers that were surpassing the amount of passive buyers in this scenario. And as a result, we broke 4171, 4170.50, and then 4170. Look at the size, look at the volume. We ended up digesting those passive buyers. And what happened with the futures? The futures ended up dropping from 4170 all the way down to a low of 4161. Now the next buy orders were sitting here at 4161. You can see we got very, very close to that level, but we ended up bouncing. And then notice what happened once we broke back down below 4160. As we can see, there was a lot of aggressive sellers, took out the aggressive buyers, because as we can see, the red line went into light blue. And what happened with the S&P futures? We continued to drop down all the way to 4156. And now it looks like we're coming right back up. So again, with Bookmap, you can visually see exactly where these buyers and sellers are sitting in the market. These huge buy and sell orders, they kind of act like a magnet in the market. So last week, unfortunately, I didn't get this recorded. So I think it was on Tuesday. It was either Tuesday or Monday. Unfortunately, I didn't get it recorded. You can also identify where sellers are stacked. So again, either Monday or Tuesday, I forget which day it was, but there was a bunch of sell orders stacked on top of each other within a $2 to $2.50 range, and there was no buyers below that level. So when the S&P futures traded up to that level, seeing all those sell orders just sitting there and no support down here, that pretty much let you know that the market was going to reverse. And I really wanted to get the puts because the puts were trading at like, I think it was like 220 or 225. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into them, and the puts went all the way up to, I think it was 280 or 285. So I missed that trade. Anybody could have caught that trade by simply just looking at the S&P futures, realizing that there was a ton of sellers stacked in that level, not a lot of support. What ended up happening was the S&P futures traded up into that level, and the aggressive buyers could not surpass the passive sellers. So as a result, S&P futures dropped, and you could have caught yourself a very nice move to the downside. The same exact thing can happen if the S&P futures are dropping and we get really close to a strong support level. Say we have a few red lines from 4157 all the way down to 4156. Well, if we have a bunch of buy orders just sitting here and not a lot of sell orders until, let's just say, 4165, more than likely we are going to bounce at that level, especially if the aggressive sellers cannot surpass the buyers that are just sitting here waiting to get their orders filled. So again, Bookmap, it's very easy to use. All I'm looking for is red, dark red, and even orange levels, looking over here at the current order book to see how big the level actually is. And then once we trade up into that range, I want to see if the buyers are able to surpass the sellers, or if we trade down to that range, I want to see if the sellers can surpass the buyers. If not, we're more than likely going to bounce, and we can make very good trading assumptions just based off of that information right there. And obviously, you want to piece together the technicals on the stock that you're actually trading. In case you guys did not know, I did end up releasing my new trading book, The New Age of Technical Analysis. It is officially on Amazon. So if you guys do want your copy, make sure to head on over to Amazon and secure your copy over there. Other than that, if you guys do want more Bookmap videos, Make sure to click that like button as well as clicking that subscribe and that bell icon. It would mean the absolute world to me. Everybody have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.